So Shopify built a unified commerce platform over the years. Payments is at the core of what we do. Unified commerce is like taking Omnichannel to the next level. You have to integrate all these channels and make sure that experience is seamless on the buyer side. And what unified commerce does is bring all that on a single platform. Yeah, it's a big part. Like our approach is to say we make the important things easy and everything else possible. We build the platform in a way that merchants can grow with the platform and they never outgrow the platform.
What is it?
Well, Shopify Payments allows our merchants to abstract the complexity of payments and make it really simple for them. But actually, our data shows it's happening right now. We've seen an increase of orders, actual orders that originated on AI channels 15 times higher, and that's just the beginning. The search bar was the front door to the internet and to commerce. For the first time, we are seeing a new door opening, which is moving from keywords to conversations.
Good morning, Fabian. Really lovely to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Really happy to be here.
It's a pleasure. So this is day 2 of MPE. How's the day been going so far?
It's very busy, just like the first day. Lots of interesting conversations, keynotes, panel discussions, conversations with merchants and partners, and it's continuing the same way.
Is there anything that has surprised you from conversation you picked up here?
I think a common theme is agentic, and many people are still trying to figure out how they can make that work, what the future is going to look like. And we might go a little bit deeper on that later on. We have some interesting insights to share.
Okay, good. Yeah. So let's then take a step back. Fabian, you're from Shopify. So give us a bit more understanding in terms of what exactly is your role, your remit, because you mentioned agentic commerce. I'm just kind of alluding, are you working actively on building product around that side of things, or?
So Shopify built a unified commerce platform over the years. That means we do online checkout, but we span across all channels. And we were always there to enable our merchants to sell on any channel. B2B, social, brick and mortar with point of sale and retail, marketplaces. And now the newest channel is Agentic, obviously. But what is also important to understand, payments is at the core of what we do. So that's what we mean by having a unified commerce platform, a commerce operating system that includes all of that for our merchants. And
it's funny that you mentioned unified, because for a long time, I think we were very much into looking at these from an omni-channel perspective. So do you make a difference between what you see and define omni-channel versus the term you're using today, unified?
Unified commerce is like taking omnichannel to the next level. Omnichannel, as you say, that term has been around for 10 years or so. And the idea was to provide that seamless experience to the buyer, the same brand experience no matter where they are. And that's great. The issue is, it's really interesting, really difficult to implement.
Yes.
You have to integrate all these channels and make sure that experience is seamless on the buyer side. And what unified commerce does is bring all that on a single platform so that it's also seamless from a merchant side and therefore a lot easier to implement. And things like endless aisle use cases, buy online, pick up in store, they almost come out of the box because everything, customer data, product data, inventory data, all is on the same platform, and that makes things really smooth and enables lots of merchants for the first time to really bring that experience that we were trying to achieve for many years to their buyers.
No, that's so true, and I think there's a lot of gaps in the way the industry can be very quick on promoting and talking to one side of that innovation, because that's precisely the omnichannel angle, where it's what the user experience and how you enable them, with all of those touch points. And what you're alluding here is there's also a backend element that still need to be unified with all of the data, right? Navigating across to be able to fulfill that task. And this is the real core aspect that gets probably underestimated. It's not just about going to market, enabling new payment method, that alignment across channel, across then getting and filtering the data point back, reconciliation, etc. It is a big part, right?
Yeah, it's a big part. Like, our approach is to say we make the important things easy and everything else possible. So that means we bring a certain level of standardization at the core.
Yeah.
So we absorb a lot of the heavy lifting, global compliance, cross-border taxes, robust, scalable checkout, payments can be part of that. At the same time, we allow for a high level of flexibility, of extensibility and customization, because we know every merchant is different.
That's right.
Every vertical is different and every business has their unique requirements. And we want to make sure they can focus on what they are really good at, which is providing a unique product, a unique service, and they are covered when it comes to the heavy lifting, the complex stuff, which we strive to make simple for them.
Because from the conversation we have with the merchant community, we think really two groups here, whereby from the inception, any merchants going in, offering a service that needs to take payment, there's no doubt that they will immediately think of platforms like a Shopify, like a Stripe, right? Because these all integrated, easy to essentially get, them to accepting payment. It's a solution, it's a value that, has a strong place and is very well acknowledged at the inception of taking payment. But you're talking about that complexity, merchant grow. Businesses aim to grow, right? They don't aim to just stay small. And as they grow, the complexity grow with them. And as that complexity grow, they go into unknown territories, into areas of the infrastructure that they are not familiar with, that they need to think about, and they need to scale. So today, the industry needs to offer more modularity, because it's not just a question of you have a solution, a system, and then you move to the next provider. You need to be able, within that same environment, to have the ability to adapt your infrastructure as your need and your complexity grows. So is this the way that you think that platforms today need to build their modularity to enable not just the one segment that is willing for a box solution, but the one that is growing, that need that sustainability and standardization that you talk about, because that's really what enables the scale, right? Is that pretty much what you think is the core component of being able to serve both of the segments?
We build the platform in a way that merchants can grow with the platform and they never outgrow the platform. We have merchants from small entrepreneurs, first-time founders, up to global brands like Mattel, Glossier, Supreme, who have massive product drops, global scale. So we constantly invest into the platform to make sure merchants never outgrow the platform and the platform can grow with them. An example in the world of payments is we constantly add Shopify Payments to new countries. Just in the last year, we added 16 additional countries for Shopify Payments. We also make sure that this is supported not only online, but in the point of sale retail world. And we constantly add local payment methods to make sure that merchants are set up for this long-term success. At the same time, we offer that level of flexibility when merchants say there's particular areas of my business where I want to have a more modular approach. That's totally possible.
And you mentioned Shopify payment as if everybody knows Shopify payment. What is it?
Well, Shopify payment allows our merchants to abstract the complexity of payments and make it really simple for them. And why is Shopify in a unique position to do that for our merchants? We think a lot of the complication we see out there is happening if merchants try to solve shopping problems at the payments layer.
Okay.
The payments layer is pretty simple. It charges a card and moves money. It's completely lacking the commerce context. What if an item is out of stock, if taxes were calculated incorrect, if discounts aren't right? So what I'm saying is if you send a broken order to the payments layer, you get declines, you get refunds, you get basically failed settlements. And that's something that can be avoided if you look at the entire commerce journey, if you add the context. And that's why with Shopify payments, our merchants get best-in-class authorization rates and a very scalable payments infrastructure.
And what is next then? What do you think? Because we think a lot, right? Like the innovation is buzzing. It's always been, payment is always, sort of an active piece, right? But I must admit from where I'm standing, the last couple of years have been quite wild by any standard with the agentic AI and everything in between. What can possibly still come out of this, right? Do you think, do you have as well your pulse on any other, change and maybe underestimated, sort of products or ways of, shopping that are emerging as a trend that potentially will be as well, gathering the center of attention in the next few months or years? And normally I would always ask like a few years, but in the context that we're living in today is almost like in the next 12 months, right?
Yeah.
What could possibly again come and disrupt and shift us? So
we mentioned earlier, there's lots of conversations going on about agentic here. And oftentimes people are talking about it as if it was something that is going to happen in the future. But actually our data shows it's happening right now.
It is.
If we look at the Shopify stores globally, we have millions of them. We've seen an increase of orders, actual orders that originated on AI channels, 15 times higher number of orders between January 2025 and January 26. So within 1 year, that's the increase. And that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
But what is important to understand for every merchant, for every payment executive who might be listening is that's a real change that is happening right now. And oftentimes the infrastructure we are using, the approaches we are using, they aren't built for this new era.
Right.
So what we need is a translation layer, a protocol, and these type of things to make sure merchants are really set up for success in this new era.
You're saying something so key here in terms of, and that's probably capturing for me why payment is complex. At the inception, payment was never built to answer the use case and the way we're shopping today, right? So you've got an infrastructure that's relying on good foundation that worked for a time, but the demand and the way they need to adapt today is not, and that was never designed for that. And this is where that's bringing the whole stripping, maybe part of the infrastructure, rebuilding, buying, redesigning. And this is really where the industry is kind of like figuring it out. And for me, I'm really seeing platforms that platform payment providers, vendors that are able to fit in almost like modular, like Legos, right? You can come in and fit in an element of that specialism to help, connecting the dots from where the merchant needs, the efficiency, the infrastructure versus always looking at having to displace what they already have. Because a lot of the vendors for a long time were very much trying to displace others, right? Always looking at, who is the competition that is processing for that merchant? Can we actually win the merchant? But I'm seeing today that actually it's probably not so much a taking over. Sometimes it's just bringing the speciality that maybe a layer of your infrastructure can answer better than the competition. And then you coexist with the other partners, right? It's not so much of a grabbing it all and displacing the others, because we have to figure a lot of things out, and there's strengths in every platform, right?
Absolutely. Let me give you one example. And I have to take one step back to explain what this is about. So in the era of Agentic, we don't need better bots. We need a way for agents to be able to communicate with merchants, with stores, right? That's why we launched the Unified Commerce Protocol together with Google, which is a standardized open source protocol that anyone can use, and that is a defined standard for how AI agents and merchants talk to each other. So that's the first step, to say this is not a Shopify product we sell, but it's an open standard. Everyone can use it, and it's sort of a foundation that can be used by anyone who wants to be successful in this era. On top of that, we built something which we call the Shopify catalog.
Okay.
And that's a way for merchants to publish their products in a standardized way, alongside with other rules like shipping rules and so on. And this format, this catalog, is really optimized for agents to interact with. So they don't have to scrape and guess, because that leads again to failed settlements. They have a very clear structure that is always correct and very precise. And to your point, now I'm coming back to this, making things modular, giving others the opportunity to participate in these things. We opened up the catalog and make it available to every merchant, no matter if they are on Shopify or not. So that means with our Agentic plan, someone who's not on Shopify today can use the Shopify catalog to publish their products and make them discoverable and even shoppable for these AI channels.
Really, really good, really interesting, because fundamentally, no matter what element of tech can come into the market, if you don't have the rest of the infrastructure adapted to be able to be processed and essentially be picked through, effectively we are in an obsolete situation. So the fact that you are already part of this, bringing others on the journey, opening what you design as a catalog that then can get picked up with the intent defined within the agent, it's quite a really strong example of precisely where that needs to be today when we're thinking about collaboration, partnership, not so much competition, like who's doing what better. So I really like that example. So thank you so much for sharing. I have probably a couple of questions that are a little bit more inviting your thought as leaders within that space. You guys have millions, right, of views from processing data. You sitting essentially at the center of processing millions of transactions cross-market, seeing different profiling of merchants that probably start small on Shopify and they grow with you, right? They grow because their market grows. There's new opportunity. I think the digital commercialization has really opened up and changed their own model, right?
True.
So everybody's figuring out a lot of different things at the same time, right? But then we need to almost be able at some point to step back and almost look at all of this and looking at the patterns so that we can then enable the next flow of potential, escorts to also jump on that wagon in a way that is easy, sustainable, and simplified. So is there anything that you're finding?
So one example for merchants that grow, and especially for merchants that grow globally, is that historically there was this belief in the industry, if I go global, I need separate tech stacks, I need separate infrastructures to be able to cater for all these individual needs of the different buyers in the different regions. And while I agree with the overarching goal, like we need to individualize the experience and be compliant and so on for all these different regions, the approach of having separate tech stacks is slightly outdated. What we believe is really required is a chameleon backend that adapts its appearance to whoever interacts with it.
That is, I love that.
You know, it's depending on who the buyer is, from where they visit the store, it will just show the right language, the local catalog, the local payment methods, currencies, but not only on the buyer side, also on the merchant side. They can benefit from things like local currency settlement, local entity settlement, and they will have lots of benefits on the payment side by having that centralized infrastructure where they have full visibility and can manage all these different channels, different payment methods centrally.
It's so funny you mentioned that. I've had a number of conversations, as you can imagine, and there was definitely a guest that was talking almost about the choice that we've been promoting. Oh, you need to give choice, just choice. But actually the choice is also a killer, because when you don't, that's what you're exemplifying here, right? Sort of saying, okay, if you don't help them by already streamlining based on your understanding and your visibility, okay, in that market, for that vertical or whatever parameters, you're already just opening the scope of where that decision should be made, as opposed to this is the full catalog, you make your pick, right? There was a time the industry, script was very much about, oh, you can take all of these payment methods, but do you actually want to, right? Like the customer doesn't even exist, but actually let's already put that payment method, So it's quite interesting, because you're totally right. Being able to streamline and be contextualizing what you are showing, exposing not just to the user, but to the merchant, because they are the one on the back end that have then to make sense and reconcile all of that. So that's definitely a view that was also expressed in previous conversations. Really, really interesting. So is there anything that you think the industry should be thinking more of that will really help us, collectively navigate that next phase of whatever is the future of payment?
I think if we look at commerce in general, for the past 20 years, everyone has been optimizing for the search bar. And for good reasons. The search bar was the front door to the internet and to commerce. For the first time, we are seeing a new door opening,
like that.
which is moving from keywords to conversations. People are having real conversations with their AI agents. They are asking them for advice on which products to buy, and they are having these conversations. We have data saying that 14% of all interactions with ChatGPT are commerce related. And that's millions of interactions, so a massive potential out there. And the next step is going to be agents, shopping agents, who have agency and who do the purchase for you. So you will just delegate the outcome and they will do the shopping. And that means the search bar will still be relevant for humans who interact with it, of course. But there's a new type of customer coming up who doesn't have eyes, who doesn't have a mouse to click. It's invisible, and the whole transaction becomes invisible.
That's right.
And also it speeds up a lot. It can happen in milliseconds versus minutes, or how long it takes a human to do a transaction. And that's something the industry is waking up to and starting to understand. We need to build the infrastructure that caters for the non-human buyer.
Absolutely. I mean, you left us with quite a nice visual of that new customer. So I'll certainly leave it there. It was such a pleasure. Thank you so much for stopping by and having that conversation. And I hope this is the beginning of many other conversations, because this is not a endpoint conversation. It is an ongoing discovery journey that we are all on. And as things evolve and shape, I hope we can have an opportunity to revisit some of the thoughts that you brought in and just continue that forward.
Absolutely. The pleasure is on my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Fabian.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.